3. The Exodus and the Wilderness. When we left the family of Israel at the end of Genesis, they were guests of honor in Egypt. But time is a cruel master. 400 years have passed. A new Pharaoh has risen, who does not remember Joseph. The 70 souls who moved to Goshen have become millions, and to Egypt. They are no longer guests. They are a threat. They are slaves. The promise made to Abraham seems to be dying in the mud and the brick pits of Egypt. But the God of the covenant hasn't forgotten. He's just been waiting for the right moment to answer the cries of his people. Moses was a man of two worlds, born a Hebrew slave, raised a prince of Egypt, and now an exile hiding in the desert of Midian. He thought his story was over. But at the base of Mount Horeb, he encounters a bush that burns but is not consumed.
Moses, take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. I have seen the misery of my people. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring them out.
Moses is terrified. He makes excuses. He stammers. He asks for God's name. God replies with the most powerful 4 words in history: I am who I am. Moses returns to Egypt with a simple demand. Let my people go. Pharaoh's response: Who is the Lord that I should obey him? I do not know the Lord. Pharaoh was about to find out. These weren't just random disasters. Each plague was a direct strike against the gods of Egypt. God was showing the world that Pharaoh was not a god, and the Nile was not a deity. But the final plague was the heaviest, the death of the firstborn. To be spared, the Israelites had to paint the blood of a lamb on their doorposts. This was the Passover. Where the blood was seen, the judgment passed over. That night, Egypt wept, and Israel walked out free. Panic sets in. Pharaoh has changed his mind and sent his elite army to crush the refugees. They are trapped. But Moses stands at the edge of the Red Sea and speaks words that still ring today. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. In the greatest miracle of the Old Testament, millions of people walk through the heart of the sea. When the Egyptian army follows, the walls collapse. The power of Egypt is washed away, and for the first time in 400 years, Israel is truly free. God didn't just bring them out of slavery to be aimless. He brought them to himself. At Mount Sinai, the atmosphere is electric. God descends in fire. This is a covenant ceremony, like a wedding. God gives them the 10 Commandments and the law. These aren't just rules. They are a constitution for a new kind of nation, a nation that reflects God's holiness and justice to the rest of the world. But the human heart is prone to wander. While Moses is on the mountain talking to God, the people are in the valley, making an idol. They trade the invisible God of the universe for a gold-plated statue. The relationship is nearly broken before it begins, but Moses intercedes. God, in his mercy, decides to stay with them. God instructs them to build the tabernacle, a mobile palace. Why? Because the King of the universe wants to live. In a tent in the middle of his people, the Creator of the stars wants to be at home with a band of refugees. They reach the border of the promised land, Canaan. 12 spies go in to check it out. 10 come back with a report of fear. The people are giants. We are like grasshoppers compared to them. Only 2, Joshua and Caleb, trust God's promise. The people listen to the 10 voices of fear. They rebel. They weep and they talk about going back to Egypt. The consequence is tragic. God declares that this faithless generation will not enter the land. For every day the spies were. In the land, the people will wander a year in the desert. 40 years, a whole generation would pass away in the sand, waiting for their children to grow up and have the courage to believe. 40 years later, the original slaves of Egypt are gone. Their children are now a battle-hardened nation standing on the edge of the Jordan River. The book of Deuteronomy is Moses' final greatest hits speech. He reminds them of the law, the miracles, and the mistakes of their parents. I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live. Moses dies on the mountain, his eyes fixed on the land he couldn't enter. The leadership passes to Joshua. The desert wandering is over. The conquest is about to begin. Join us for Part 4, The Kingdom, as Israel finally crosses the river to claim their home. But they will soon find that keeping the land is harder than winning it. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.